Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Coleman, he'll shoot and he'll score! One in the area! And it's Mark McGuinness!
18 long, agonising days without a fixture. The Bluebirds are back in action against the old enemy here at Cardiff City Stadium, looking to avenge October's 3-0 reverse fixture. We all know the statistic, no team has ever done the league double in the history of this infamous fixture, and that's what Cardiff are looking to protect this afternoon. A 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff for the first time in a generation. I'm Ashley James, alongside me as ever this afternoon, my colleague John Donovan. We'll be joined by Michael Chopra in a little bit in the second half of this afternoon's pre-match show. But first, a chance, we usually reflect on the previous game, John, but it was that long ago, I can't actually remember much about the 2-1 win over Stoke. I know Cardiff are 4 games unbeaten heading into this fixture. I know we had momentum heading into this fixture. How does it feel for you this afternoon?
Nervous. I must admit, speaking to some people around the ground, there's a lot of optimism among Cardiff City fans, and Steve Morrison's earned the right for the fans to feel that optimism. Derby Day is always a little bit of a nerve-wracking one for me. I'm one of those superstitious people, and it's an intangible really, Ash, but sometimes I feel that Swansea in past history have wanted this more than us, wanted this game more than us. I'm hoping Steve Morrison, and I suspect Steve Morrison is this type of character, that he's changed that mentality. You look at recent derby history, what is it, in the last 6 games, Swansea have taken 4 of these, we've only taken the 1. It means a lot to everybody this afternoon. It means a lot to you and I as fans, and I'm sure despite the fact Steve Morrison tried to talk it down in his pre-match press conference yesterday, it means an awful lot to him as well. And why shouldn't Cardiff City be confident? As you said, going into the international break, they did have that momentum. Hopefully that continues today.
You and I and many of our colleagues who work on Cardiff City TV have lamented and been quite angry before, during, after a lot of South Wales derbies in recent memory. We'd usually be ahead of this game saying that, as you said, that Cardiff have a problem with South Wales derby. It doesn't feel right to do that today because, for one reason or another, and Steve Morrison's got a large part to play with that, this has felt a different football club in recent months, hasn't it?
It has, and you go beyond Steve Morrison, you go to Mark Hudson, you go to Tom Ramsford, you go to people and players and members of staff who perhaps know and are not afraid to let the passion show about this game. Swansea certainly aren't. You read their website, you know, Matt Grimes has been talking all week about how much this means, and when a player comes into the club, the first thing that's talked about is this game. And I've always been a little bit upset that all right, it's a 46-game season, these are only 2 games, but they mean so much to the Cardiff City fans, the surrounding community. I want them to be talked about at that level, and I suspect, not in front of the media and the cameras yesterday, but behind closed doors, I'd be very surprised if Steve Morrison hasn't built the importance up, and I'd be surprised if we didn't see a different Cardiff City team on Derby Day today, albeit a Cardiff City team who probably won't see a great deal of the ball, but in terms of their overall commitment, structure, desire to win, will to win, I think it might be up a level today.
In terms of the team itself then, let's quickly look at the starting lineup. Cardiff unchanged from that team against Stoke. I did have to rack my brain and use your notes to figure that out a little. Such was the gap between fixtures, of course, because the international break and Middlesbrough's involvement in the FA Cup. But he's kept faith. Joel Bagan keeps his place. Alfie Doughty, you imagine that closer towards fitness, full fitness again after the injury against Barnsley, and particularly keeps faith in Mark Harris. So he seems to have 3 options in that support striker role at the moment. Ruben Caldwell got his first international goal on this ground in the week. Isaac Davis, who's been flourishing in recent months, but he seems to have gone back to Mark Harris. Is that largely because of the tempo he's capable of setting?
Yeah, I think so. The need to press without the ball. I think Mark Harris is probably the best of them without the ball. Also the fact that the Swansea back 3 will split, and Grimes will come in and almost play as an auxiliary centre-half, but it does leave channels to go into, and we always talk about the fact that Mark Harris is good at going into channels and stretching teams. So again, it's horses for courses, but particularly without the ball. But then when Cardiff are looking to play on the transition, looking to play on the break, and maybe Swansea have split and Cardiff have turned over the ball, I think Harris can get in there in the channels, and you keep your powder dry. You've got Isaac Davis on the bench, and then of course you've got Ruben Colwell on the bench, who everybody's talking about. Congratulations to him after his international midweek goal. I'm still of the mind Ruben Colwell's a number 10. I don't like him playing as an out-and-out front man, even with a big man like Hugo alongside him. So there's options on the bench, but I think Mark Harris, again, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit more mature. He knows what this game means to Cardiff City fans. So, you know, I'm hopeful for a big performance from Mark Harris.
And something you identified, we were talking before the game when the teams came out, and it was a little raising of an eyebrow because it looks like Nathaniel Obeta's fit to start now. But Russell Martin's kept faith with Hannes Wolf on the left-hand side as the wing-back, seemingly. Ordinarily attacking midfield player. We're going to hear from Cody Drama in a couple of minutes' time. Cardiff will certainly be looking. They always look for Cody Drama to provide a platform. It's going to be a greater impetus again this afternoon to do so, isn't it?
It is. I also think Ryan Manning's a big loss for Swansea. I do like him a lot, saying that about a Swansea player, but as a left-sided defender. So I wonder whether that left defensive side for Swansea can be exploited. Look, a lot of this is going to come down to individual battles. I think the midfield is key. Rawls against Grimes is key. But Cardiff, I think, could potentially exploit that left-hand side. Cody Drama, he was doing it every game before the international break. He certainly seems like a young man that the occasions don't faze him. He could be a major attacking outlet for Cardiff City today. And I just feel, looking at Hans Wolf, yep, he's good going in the opposite direction. He's good on the ball. But if he's forced to defend by Drama today, particularly without maybe their regular left centre-half behind him, is that an area Cardiff City can exploit? I, for one, certainly hope so.
And I don't need an excuse to talk about Joe Rawls, so we're going to do so. But a real test of his mettle as Cardiff captain this afternoon. He's going to need to lead from the front. It's a fixture that he and very few others have got experience of in this Cardiff City team. And the two players alongside him in that middle of the park, and Ryan Wintle and Tommy Doyle, have been completely unflustered as of yet in a Cardiff shirt. But you feel he's going to need to lead them along a little this afternoon.
Oh, that midfield is so intriguing. You know, Wintle is going to have to take responsibility for Patterson most of the time. But as you say, Joe Rawls, he's captain of this team. He knows what this team, this fixture means to this team, this club, to him personally. We've seen him sent off in a derby before. We hope that doesn't happen today.
I wasn't going to mention it.
You know, but we have seen that, and obviously that shows the passion it means to him. Hopefully we don't see that today. He's got to get at Grimes. He's got to exploit space that Grimes maybe leaves when he drops in to the back three. Tommy Doyle exactly the same. But I think the midfield three, Downs is a very good player, a good pickup from Ipswich. Doyle, Rawls, and Wintle need to match up against Patterson, Downs and Grimes, and particularly Wintle on Patterson, because whatever Mick McCarthy wanted to do back at the Liberty or Swansea.com stadium in October, Jamie Patterson was allowed the freedom of Swansea to dictate that game. That can't happen today, and Ryan Wintle is key to that.
John, thank you very much as ever for joining us. We will have Cardiff City legend Michael Chopra on with us in a couple of minutes' time. But first, let's hear from a man we've just spoken eloquently about already. That's Cody Drama as he heads into his first South Wales derby.
Yeah, I think like all throughout the week we've been saying like the stadium's going to be almost full and stuff like that. So the excitement seems to be building up in Wales. So yeah, I think we're all looking forward to it, and just hopefully we can get a win. I think there was a stat saying that no clubs won it twice in a season. So hopefully we can stop Swansea doing that, and hopefully we can get a win. And yeah, I've seen a few people around. Like I've been to like a post office or a shop. They've just been telling me, yeah, it's a really, really important game, and we have to win it. Even like without me being here, like along the years, there's been like a Premier League clash with this tie in it. I've watched those games at home, and I've just seen it from like at home, and it's been a madness sort of game. So yeah, I don't think no one needs to tell me it's a very big game. It's probably the closest. Probably was the Cardiff Bristol game for me. That was a crazy atmosphere and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. That was probably the closest, but I think it's going to be 10 times a bigger atmosphere. So yeah, we need them to give us the energy, and then we can use the energy to raise the levels on the pitch. So they're massive in this. As I said, this is my first sort of like season, if you like, in a first team sort of setting. So going from like 23s football where it's like very spaced out, very relaxed, like it might be a game once a week, to now there's like a game 3 times a week. Sometimes you play like Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. It's very, very demanding, and I've had to adapt. But I think the coaching staff have used their experience and helped me out to adapt to the games and stuff like that. If we differentiate from anything that we do similarly, I think it starts to become a bit of a bigger sort of thing, and we don't really want that. We want to just, it's very cliche, but just play the game, not the occasion. So they haven't done anything different, because I think the group we know like it's a big game, and we're just trying to do things similarly, and then hopefully we can turn up on Saturday and raise our levels and get the win.
Welcome back to Cardiff City TV. Delighted to say, after hearing from Cody Drama there, we are joined by Cardiff City legend Michael Chopra. Michael, it's great to have you with us this afternoon ahead of this massive game in Welsh football. No stranger to this fixture yourself, no stranger to Cardiff goals, and of course 5 appearances, 3 goals in this fixture, and we're stood at an end of the pitch you know well, and brought about one of the sweetest memories in the history of this stadium.
Yeah, that's right. Look, obviously when the fixtures first come out, playing for Cardiff, you first look out for when you're playing your local rival Swansea. And when it came up, that's when you really want to be at it. A couple of games before that, you don't want any niggles, because going into a local derby, you want to be 100% ready. But look, for the fans, these are what the game's all about. Local derbies, you want to get bragging rights. You want to get one over your local rivals. Thankfully for me, on a few occasions, I managed to do that.
It's been, I'm sure you've been watching from afar, it's been a little while since Cardiff have had we had the bragging rights with the win away last season, but a convincing derby win has been difficult to come by. There have been awkward afternoons for the Bluebirds in recent memory, but it feels like at the moment there's a changing in the tide in this football club.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I watched the game when they played at Swansea earlier in the season. Watch it on the TV, and you could see straight away from the setup that Mick McCarthy had, playing 5 centre backs across the back. You knew that something wasn't right. That's not what you do in derbies. Obviously, the club had a change in management, and fair play to the club, because the management that they've stood by now has been brilliant. Managed to get away from the relegation zone, and really looking forward to the game today, because look, it's a totally different Cardiff team that you're going to see that played down at Swansea.
And as you said, it was looking perilous for a little while. We were far too close to the relegation zone, but when results started to pick up, the narrative of this season started to shift. Can you avoid defeat? Can you go and win that second derby to avoid the defeat? Can you finish above Swansea? And you put yourself in a position this afternoon, the Bluebirds, where a win and you move above the Swans for the first time.
Well, look, the players will know that. It'll be in the back of their minds. Not only that, I think if Swansea win, it's the first double they've done over the club in so many years now. When I was playing for the club, that was always drilled into us. We knew that you can't lose 2 games against your local rivals. It just doesn't happen. It can't happen. But look, there's a great incentive for the Cardiff lads. Like you just said, the win to go above your local rivals. That's bragging rights there for the fans. That's what they want to see.
And as a former striker, a striker with absolutely bags of goals for this football club, let alone the rest of the clubs you played for, is it great for you to see, as a football fan now, 2 teams playing 2 up top again? Because it seemed we went through a decade of football with 1 up top, and you were a player who loved playing alongside somebody, and you've got teams wanting to play 2 strikers and attack teams.
Well, yeah, I was always a player that wanted to play up with a big man. He gets the flick-ons, and I'm a poacher. It's great to see that they're going 2 up top again, and they're playing with 2 strikers, because look, you've got to get at the Swansea defence. It's a local derby. You're playing at home. You've got the fans behind you. Just get at them and see what happens. They'll be nervous coming into the game, Swansea, because they've not had a good recent run of results, whereas Cardiff, over the last few games, they've had positive results.
What do you think about a 17-day gap between fixtures? Hardly ideal preparation, but on the other side, off the back of a really busy period of the fixtures.
Yeah, look, the season's now in the Championship. It's so tough. It's busy. especially with COVID and everything, fixtures getting postponed. But not just that, Cardiff have had some players that have gone on to international duty as well, so they've been playing with better players, so they're going to become a better player going into these games. They're professional footballers now, they're athletes, they'll be flying, they'll be fit, do you know what I mean? It's not like 10, 20 years ago where you're getting 3, 4, 5 days off and then coming back in and you're running your socks off in training going into these games. Look, I'm sure the Cardiff management will have these boys flying today.
Quick word for Jordan Hugel, the man from near your neck of the woods up north, but he's come in January and been exactly what Cardiff have needed, isn't he, as a focal point?
Yeah, that's right. Look, when back in earlier in the season, Cardiff was struggling with strikers. Obviously, had Kiefer Moore, he moved on, and you had to bring somebody else that was going to be a focal point. And Hugel's been brilliant. He's taken the knocks and he lets the other players run off him. But look, it all comes down to the day. Do you know what I mean? That's what all these fans are here for. It's going to be a sellout, and rightly so, because these are the games that they want to come and watch and they want to get the win.
Talk about your Cardiff career then. 2 spells at the club, 160 or so appearances, an absolute bag full of goals. Crossed 2 stadiums, 2 eras of the club almost by the time you came back. Aside from the Swansea memory, what else sticks in your mind from your
Look,
memory?
there's loads of things that stick in my mind. I remember the hat-trick at Ninian Park against Leicester. People talk about that being the best hat-trick in Ninian. I'll never forget the first game of the Cardiff City Stadium Open when we played Scunthorpe. Peter Whittingham had a shot, it hit my heel and went over the top of the keeper. So I've gone down in history for that as well, scoring the first goal at the new stadium. Look, I've had special memories here. I've had a great time. I love the fans, I love the club, and it's a pleasure to be here now. Do you know what I mean? Just watching, soaking up the atmosphere as a fan, not a player.
And final question for me, just what kind of atmosphere is this stadium capable of holding for a game against Swansea City?
Look, it's brilliant, do you know what I mean? The players will see it today. It's not been that full over the last couple of years, I would say, but it's full today. They're going to come out that tunnel and they're going to have to be firing because they know that these fans are going to be behind them, and if they go 1-0 up in this game, then they'll really see what the atmosphere is all about.
Michael, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Stick around. I think you're going to be introduced on the pitch before the game. We are going to throw to a top 5 compilation of Cardiff City goals against Swansea City, and no surprise, this man features quite high up that list. We're also going to hear from the manager, and then we're going to roll some VT to give me enough time to get up on the gantry and get ready for live commentary of this afternoon's South Wales derby. Cardiff City and Swansea City is coming up pretty shortly.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Opportunity then. 7.5 minutes gone. Volks launches it into the area. It comes off somebody and it's loose. It's a good save by Woodman. Aidan Flint! City lead in the derby!
Well, Cardiff just managed to flood blue jerseys around that second ball. It's a marvellous save from Freddie Woodman, but there's nothing he can do to pick himself back up to deny Flint following up.
And it comes, high across goal, heading down by Stephen Hawker, it's 1-0!
Well, you can't say the goal's been coming, but Cardiff will certainly be the better team in this second half. They've lost possession, much like Swansea love to do, and they've hemmed Swansea right in to their half. They haven't allowed them out, they've kept up the pressure, and in the end, a goal has come.
very much both teams know how the game's going to go. They're going to dominate the ball maybe a bit more than we are, because they just do that in all their games. It's not going to be a surprise. We're not all of a sudden going to have 70% possession and they're going to have 30. So yeah, it would just be a case of trying to control the atmosphere and control your emotions as a footballer when you're on the pitch, and then when the moments come, putting your stamp on the game and being calm in those moments. Yeah, I think that as long as everything plays out the way it should on a spectator level, there's no issues off the pitch, there's no dramas around that, and let the football do the talking. I said there is a real good feel-good factor around the area, the nation. Us and Swansea are very similar places in the league. Obviously, we've got them in different ways. Both decent form in the league, so it sets itself up for a decent game. And obviously, first game off the back of a long break as well, so it's a nice game to go back into. As we said before, like we see the biggest change in our style of play has been we give up far less chances and create more chances, and that's why we've been more successful. So, and how we've done that is a style and something that we've worked towards, and it can change and it will change in certain quarters, but ultimately you have to be pragmatic as well, and you have to get results. We weren't in a situation where we could just relax and do what we wanted and just go, if we lost, we lost. It doesn't matter. We're cruising here. But obviously, I'd like to hopefully over these next 8 games try a few things out. As long as everyone realises that's what we're doing, and if it goes wrong, fine. But it's obviously all work in progress. As long as it's not detrimental to our season and like we get dragged into anything, if you know what I mean. So we will do stuff, but it'll be at the right time.
Say Joe Bagan, probably. I don't know, since he's come here, we just bonded like straight away, so yeah, just connection straight away. Worst is 100% Isaac Davis, Miles. Hardest player, that's a close one. There's a few tough boys, I think, but hardest and scariest, probably Flinty. Yeah. I have to go Isaac Davis again, worst dressed and most vain, yeah. Marlon, pretty clever. Seems clever anyway, yeah. Everyone's been sound, really. Everyone's been great. I couldn't really put it on one player, all the boys are sound, but yeah. Mine might be a bit different from growing up with Bose, but Bose is the biggest moaner I know, but I don't know what everyone else has said. Yeah. I'd say Isaac Davis as well, yeah.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
He'll shoot and he'll score! One in the area! And it's not, we did it!
Good afternoon, welcome to Cardiff City TV for the biggest of occasions and a football season at this stadium. Cardiff City and Swansea City in
the 2022 rendition of the South Wales Derby. We all know the history. We all know what's at stake. It's going to be a nervy old 90 minutes ahead as we wait the arrival of the two teams. Cardiff with a 17-day break between fixtures heading into this game, courtesy of the international break, where Wales stepped one step closer to the World Cup in Qatar. A week ago, this set of fans were all united in this stadium, cheering on the national team in that playoff game with Austria. Now they're each other's throats for the biggest day in Welsh domestic football. Here we are, two teams led out by club captains Joe Rolls and Matt Grimes. Cardiff City head to toe in blue, Swansea City head to toe in white, as it should be. Here ahead of this one, Cardiff looking to protect the simply quite astonishing statistic that nobody has ever managed a league double in the entire history of this infamous fixture. A 3-0 reversal back in October, the monkey on Cardiff's back. And Steve Morrison keeps faith with the side that won 2-1 at home here last time out against Stoke City. It means Mark Harris, chosen to partner Jordan Hugill up top. Joe Rolls keeps the armband. Swansea City are changed. They drew 0-0 with Birmingham on their last fixture. It's a back three for them as well, though. But attacking midfielder Hannes Wolf keeps his position as a left wing back, something that Cody Drama will certainly be looking to exploit. The top two for them as well, Michael Obafemi and Joel Pirro, both amongst the goals at the moment, both start in tandem. Connor Pearce alongside me this afternoon. Connor, you're a lot less world-weary and browbeaten by this fixture than I've been over the years. How are you feeling ahead of kickoff?
Quietly confident, Ash, in all honesty. Spending a lot of the day alongside Michael Chopra, famous winner of this derby in 2010. That's brought back some happy memories of this fixture. Only twice have these two teams met at the stadium since